Memes! Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're taking a look at Memesmith. Fiendsmith with mementos. That's it. That's the whole premise. Like the video. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Memento, which technically hasn't received its support that makes it more usable with the Fiendsmith stuff. But that being said, Fiendsmith did come out. This is a deck that was played in the TCG with the Fiendsmith engine, and more specifically, is a very fun deck just in general. So I wanted to play it, and I wanted to give it to you guys as well. Should I be making other videos right now? Maybe. But don't worry about it, it's fine. Let's go quickly through the card by card, and I'm going to explain the gimmick really quick of Memento. Memento basically says, pop cards, get additional effects. Whether that's popping your own cards or popping your own cards. That's it, you just pop your own cards. So that's more or less what all of these cards do. We're going to start off here with the three ofs that are combo starters. We have Witch, which on normal or special adds a Memento from deck to hand and can pop itself to special summon at level 2 or lower. Or pop a Memento in order to special summon a level 2 or lower. Tatsu has the ability to special summon itself from hand if you control no other face-up monsters other than Mementos, or if you do not control any other face-up monsters other than Memento monsters. And then it can pop a Memento in order to send cards to the graveyard equal to the levels, right? So if I pop a 5, I can send 5 levels to the graveyard, which generally will be you pop Tatsu to send Mace, Goblin, and Gaddock. Yes, I know it's 4. It still works. And then we have Darkblade, which Darkblade on normal is a spell trap removal, and on top of that has the ability to pop itself or pop any Memento in order to special summon the Witch, or technically other things, but it's mostly just the Witch. And those three are all one-card starters to basically do the full combo, so it's very, very strong and pretty useful. Now, what are we sending? We're sending Gaddock specifically, which says if it's sent to the graveyard via Memento effect, it special summons itself, and on special, it adds a Memento card from your deck to the hand, from your grave to the hand, right? Which can do a whole bunch of things. But if you get it off of Witch, it's basically just an additional body, while also putting something like whatever you used to get there, like a Tatsu, in order to put it into the hand. We're also sending Goblin and Mace. Mace can pop itself, or Mace and Goblin can both pop in order to do a thing. Goblin sends 2 to the grave, and Mace adds a Memento card from deck to hand. So both of these are really good. They're just not as great of starters due to the fact that you can get them by like sending off of any of these other guys. Make sense? Makes sense. But they still kind of do the combo by themselves. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the monsters that we're playing. We're also playing one Horned Dragon, which can special summon itself and also pops cards if it's destroyed. And then the one Combined Creation. Can never remember this guy's name. Because this guy is basically our boss monster. He does some things, but mostly he's just here to be a guy on the field. That's more or less it. We're also playing the 3 Bone Party, which destroys a card, or destroys a Memento in order to special a Memento or add it to the hand. So those are your options with that. Or we have the Fusion, which if you popped a card this turn, you can use monsters in grave by shuffling them back into the deck as well as the materials from hand or field. And it's a quick play fusion, which is very, very useful. However, again, it's during the main phase because it has to be at least somewhat fair. However, unlike the other notorious quick play fusion spell, this one does have a hard once per turn. So that's at least a little bit more fair. Hooray. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Memento cards. We're also playing one of the field spell and one of Cranium Burst. These are basically bricks. You want to search them off of things like Mace or Goblin or what have you. And then you can... The field spell sets a trap during the end phase if you if you control this guy, and Cranium Burst does stuff if you control this guy. So there you go. All in all, it's a pretty sick combo deck, and it's pretty fun to play, and it can dodge a bunch of like interactions as well, like Imperms and Veilers and what have you, which is very fun. And then we're just adding in the Fiendsmith stuff because it's fun and interesting, and technically helps you because you can actually put up an Omni now, because this is not an Omni negate. It should be, but it's not. So yeah, the Fiendsmith stuff is just in here to play Desiree. That's it. So the rest of the cards in here are pretty simple. We're playing the 2 Maxi, the 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Fualos, 3 Super Poly, because we do have the ability to like Super Poly into our own cards, or potentially like Super Poly away the opponent's board. And like putting cards into the graveyard is actually advantageous. Fusion forgot to mention this, Fusion can also pop one of your monsters by banishing this card from the grave in order to add a Memento spell trap. It can add itself. So you can pitch Fusion or send it to the graveyard, pop one of your Mementos, and then just add the Fusion, which then would allow you to put the monster that you popped back into the deck in order to Fusion summon, which is very nice. Now, to be fair, what are we Fusion summoning? Oh, I forgot to mention, we're also playing 3 Imperm and 2 Called By. 44 cards, we're playing a bunch of bricks. We don't want to see them. Moving on. What are we Fusion summoning? We're Fusion summoning Twin Dragon, which requires 2 Memento monsters, and on summon, pops a Memento to add 2 Memento monsters with different names from deck to hand. And if destroyed, yes, it can pop itself. If destroyed, you special summon a level 6 or lower Memento from your grave. Very useful. What does this accomplish? Well, basically, if you go Twin Dragon, you can search out any of your 2 monsters that you don't already have, or more specifically, things like Horned Dragon and the Combined Creation, and then you can special summon back a guy and use that for link plays, like to go into the Fiendsmith engine. Pretty useful. And then Combined Creation can shuffle the cards back into the deck in order to just special summon itself. You could also send it to the graveyard off of something like a Goblin in order to do that as well. So we have a lot of ways to that card, which is why we're only playing the one, even though it's basically required for our end board. The rest of the cards are pretty simple. The Mud Dragon and the Garura for the Super Poly. We're also playing Chimera, because this does not require you to Fusion summon anything in particular. You just Fusion summon. As long as you have a Memento monster, you just Fusion summon. So yeah, we're playing Chimera because we can just do it on our opponent's turn and pop the field or draw cards. It's very useful. Of course, we're playing the Lacrima and the Desiree as well for our fusions. We're also playing 1 Requiem, 1 Sequence, and 1 Moon for the Fiendsmith line. We're also playing an Elf because you can go Elf into Gaddock or use Gaddock to go into Elf to do a bunch of stuff. It's pretty useful, but it's not insane. Then we have the 1 SP Little Knight, the 1 Celine because this is a spellcaster for reasons. The 1 Apo, and the 1 Axis Kotaku. That's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going second, and all I'm going to say is ignore what my opponent is doing. I'm pretty sure they just have a stroke. Mid-combo. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just gonna kind of skip through this. Yeah, that's... if you've ever played Tier, just know this is not what you're supposed to do. They banished their SnowiKs, by the way. So, keep that in mind. Anyway, out comes the Shadal Beast into SP Little Knight. Yup. Alright, let's see what we can do. We did draw Tract and Engraver, which is not that big of a deal. So we're just going to grab up the second Tract here. We're going to go for the Tract in order to grab up the Lurie and go for the Lurie effect. If we had been drolled there, it would have been really bad, but yeah, oh well. Anyway, we're going to go for the Requiem here. I'm just kind of trying to figure out if my opponent's going to do anything here. We are going to attempt to equip here with the Requiem. My opponent's going to banish. And now we get to go for the Tatsu, because my opponent got rid of my 1 monster that didn't allow Tatsu to be on the field. It was all part of the plan, trust. Anyway, we're going to pop the Solemn Judgment. That was set. Spooky. With the Dark Blade. We did end up pitching Bone Party, which kind of sucks, but the best option for us. Here we go for the Ange-Witch to grab up the Horned Dragon. Since we already have the Tatsu on field, we're going to then use the Tatsu to send Gaddock, Goblin, and Mace. Then we're going to activate the Gaddock in order to add back the Bone Party that we have not yet used. And now we can go for the Ange-Witch effect. Ange-Witch is going to special summon Mace here. We're going to go for the Mace in particular as opposed to Goblin here, because we still have access to Fusion and Bone Party, so it's just a little bit easier to go for the Mace here. So we're going to go for the field spell. We're going to then special summon Horns, which just requires you to have 3 Memento monsters with different names in your grave in order to summon it. And then we can go for the Moon of the Closed Heaven. I'm going to target this because it's funny. Then we can go for a Sequence. Sequence effect is going to activate. We're going to shuffle back 2 in order to go into the Lacrima. Lacrima is going to activate in order to special summon back the Fiendsmith that was banished. And then we are going to activate the Tract in order to fusion summon into the Desiree. If you haven't seen this yet, here's the basic combo. We now get to go for the Lacrima, burn for 12, and then equip here as well. Now we get to go for the Fusion, which we haven't yet used, in order to go into Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon is going to pop itself, except for I lied, it's not going to pop itself. We're going to go for the Bone Party in order to special summon the Dark Blade, which we will then pop in order to search out the Combined Creation, and Ange-Witch for follow-up. Then Twin Dragon is going to special summon the Goblin. Goblin can then send an additional 2 cards, most notably the Cranium Burst, which is very nice. We're going to put back 5 and then summon this guy. I'm sure I could have gone for some line that killed my opponent, but I didn't want to, because this was way funnier and way more fun. Anyway, SP comes back. Now, I'm stupid. That's all I'm going to say. I negate here because I kind of need this card on my field. Anyway, my opponent goes for the Heartbeat and shuffles away the card and then just realizes that they're dead on field and can't really do anything, even though I did activate the Desiree really poorly and just decided to kind of punt that game at the end there. But it's fine. We got there. Alright, here we are going first, and I'm going to show you the depth of this combo and what makes it so incredibly interesting. So we're going to normal summon the Dark Blade here. Dark Blade is going to pop itself in order to go into the Ange-Witch. Ange-Witch is going to grab up the Tatsu. Tatsu is then going to special summon itself, and we're going to activate the effect of the Tatsu, which will be met with an effect veiler. Now we could call by, or we could do the more interesting thing and activate the Bone Party. Bone Party is going to activate. We're going to pop in order to dodge, which then allows us to pop the other guy and special summon Goblin. So Goblin's now just automatically on the field instead of having to go through the additional hoops with the Ange-Witch. Now we didn't get to activate the Ange-Witch, which kind of sucks, but it's fine. Here we go for the Gaddock. Gaddock is going to activate its effect in order to grab back the Bone Party for later use. Here we can go for the Goblin. Goblin is going to send specifically Fusion as well as the combined creation. So we're going to activate the Fusion in order to grab up the Fusion by popping our monster. Here we can go for the Fusion effect, and we are going to shuffle back 2 in order to go into Twin Dragon. We're going to activate the effect of the Twin Dragon, popping itself, grabbing up the Horned Dragon as well as the Goblin. Goblin and Mace do additional things. They don't just do the field effect, they also have an additional thing during the opponent's turn. You can pitch it from the hand or discard it from the hand in order to do a thing. Mace steals an opponent's monsters, or an opponent's monster, and Goblin protects your monsters from being targeted. Not bad. So we're going to special summon the Ange-Witch off of the Twin Dragon, as well as then immediately special summon Horn. Ange-Witch then gets to special summon Mace. Mace gets to grab up the Cranium Burst since we already have the field spell, and now we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different names in order to summon out the combined creation. Here we get to activate the field spell, set 3, and then activate the field spell once again in order to set Fusion. Now, I know what you're saying. Wow, this is... what does this do? Because I'm almost certain you don't really know. Well, you'll see throughout the combo what this ultimately accomplishes. However, I will say, Fusion actually isn't all that good here because for some reason I was stupid and decided to put in Beatrice instead of playing the Guardian Chimera. Now, is Beatrice bad? No. But Guardian Chimera is infinitely more useful here. It's part of the end board, it's genuinely very useful to actually make, and pretty easy to make as well, and is something that you can overall just have easy access to thanks to Fusion. So yeah, for the most part, I think Guardian Chimera is a little bit better than Beatrice. Is Beatrice bad? No. Anyway, my opponent is going to reveal that they are on Black Wings. Snork. Me. Anyway, also, Goblin has text which says, during the main phase. I don't know why this is something that requires you to activate during the main phase. It just gives target protection. But they said during the main phase. So I had to wait for my opponent to do stuff there. Now we do get to activate the second effect of the combined creation, which special summons once per turn. If your opponent special summons a card, or sorry, activates a card effect, you can special summon a Memento. Cool. So we just get to special summon back the Goblin. And now we get to go for the Bone Party, because my opponent decided to not immediately activate the Black Whirlwind, but activate it after activating the Simoon. So yeah, I don't know what that was. Anyway, it's fine. We go for the Bone Party here, popping the Horned Dragon to special summon Gaddock. And we go Horned Dragon and Gaddock effect, and we're going to pop the Gaddock, which will just special summon itself back. We're going to grab back the Bone Party. Out comes the Gaddock, and then my opponent is going to special summon Chris, and then activate Shamal. Now, I could have called by to that. Realistically, I should have, but at this point, I'm still thinking that I have Guardian Chimera. So I activate the Fusion here, and then I go, oh no, I don't have that. But it's okay, because we can still go Twin Dragon. So we're going to go for the Twin Dragon, and this is kind of an interesting line that I actually am able to accomplish because of the like weird like tertiary effect of the field spell, which says if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one of those monsters, special summon a Memento with a lower level from hand or grave. So we get to do something interesting here. So we're going to target our Fusion. Our Fusion is also going to activate as well, and we're going to special summon off of the field spell the Dark Blade, and off of the Twin Dragon, which we searched up the Dark Blade and the Mace, which is pretty cool. But off of the Dark Blade, we're also going to special summon, not the Dark Blade, off of the Fusion, we're going to special summon back the Goblin. So lots of guys here. But Dark Blade now gets to pop the Blackfeather Whirlwind by pitching the Bone Party that we searched earlier. And now we also have access to Mace, which Mace steals a monster. My opponent's going to normal summon the Sudri, which we will promptly negate. Out comes the Raider's Knight, and we will promptly yoink it. My opponent concedes. Memento, baby! That was just pure memento. Memes. Alright, here we are, once again, going second. And once again, this is not a showcase of what my opponent is doing, but more so, just ignore them. I'm just going to show you a cool combo. It's Cosmo. That's all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyway, we're going to activate the Engraver here. We're going to activate its effect. My opponent will banish in order to summon out the... Oh, Dark Lady. Dark Lady actually does something. Too bad Imperm is a thing, and they didn't dodge. So, they don't have anything. We just have to worry about 2 back row. So there's that. We're going to grab up the Lurie here. Lurie is going to be pitched and then is going to special summon itself, and we're going to then link off into the Requiem. Requiem is then going to obviously go into the second Engraver. And my Torrential. Yes, Torrential. Anyway, we're going to normal summon the Dark Blade here in order to pop the... Okay, I do have to Bone Party here, even though, technically speaking, it's not, like, exceptional to do that, right? Because the effect of the Dark Blade on field is still pretty nice. We do have to just dodge that. So we're going to go for the Ange-Witch here. Ange-Witch is going to obviously add to the hand of Tatsu, and then we're going to special summon the Tatsu here. We're going to activate its effect, popping itself in order to send to 3. We're going to send the Gaddock, of course, as well as the Goblin and the Mace. And then we're going to add back the Trihorn, which we had earlier, or not the Trihorn, the Horned Dragon. We're going to pop the Ange-Witch in order to special summon Mace here, and then special summon again, activate the Mace. My opponent just concedes there. Yeah, we do get to do the full Memento combo, as well as still have access to Engraver in Grave, so... It's, like, not terrible. It's, in fact, I dare say it's pretty good. We still have access to, like, Sequence as well, which is, pretty good. So, good game. And that's pretty much it. If you really do want to play Fiendsmith in a rogue strategy, consider playing this one. Honestly, Memento is extremely fun. Does it absolutely die to Maxi, Purulia, Fualos, etc.? But of course. But that's what makes it fun. Not really, but all things considered, it is just a really interesting combo. The way that the things like Bone Party, Fusion, etc. work is just very unique. I really enjoy the, like, destruction mechanic that this deck in particular employs. There's a bunch of different archetypes and strategies that rely on, like, popping your own cards. Think Unchained or Pendulum or stuff like that. But this, I think, just does it in the most interesting and fun way, where it's like, cool, instead of, like, you know, having cards trigger when they're destroyed, it's like, oh, you gain additional effects if a card has been destroyed this turn. It's, like, very cool. And, like, they still require you to pop cards that you control, which is fair and balanced and stuff like that. So, for the most part, very interesting combo. And, yes, the Fiendsmith stuff doesn't really shine in this archetype, but it's not bad as well, right? You can still put up a whole bunch of guys on the field. It's, like, not difficult to put bodies onto the field, and then use said bodies to go into, like, Sequence and the full, like, Fiendsmith stuff. So it's also pretty useful in that regard. And yeah, all in all, it's just fun. It's just a fun deck. That's it. Play the fun deck. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, I like it very much. So appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.